Families, singles, businesses, they're all moving to Toronto. The economy is great. People come from a diverse mix of backgrounds. You know that Toronto is one of the most culturally diverse cities in the world. And there's a whole lot to do here in terms of attractions and entertainment. But still, with all that said, Toronto isn't for everybody. And in this video, we're going to get into why you might not want to move to Toronto yourself. I've got 7 top reasons why you should not move to Toronto, and we're going to get after them right now. Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Rochelle. I'm a local real estate agent right here in Toronto, and I get calls every day from people just like you and you and you and you and you looking to make a move to Toronto, Ontario, and I love it. So if you're looking to make that move, then give me a shout. All my contact is down in the description below. I would love to hear from you. But the challenge we're finding with a lot of people is that Toronto isn't quite what they were expecting. Either they can't afford to buy a home here because it's too expensive, or it's hard for them to find a job here because their qualifications back home just aren't up to par with Toronto employers. And so I'm here to make sure that you know everything that there is to know about moving here and set your expectations off right. There's a lot of good to talk about when it comes to Toronto, but today specifically, we're gonna focus on the bad and the ugly. And we're gonna start off with the first reason why you may not wanna move to Toronto, which is the high cost of living. It's expensive to live in Toronto, and in fact, it's one of the most expensive cities in North America and the most expensive in Canada. The average price of a home right now is over $1.1 million. Average rent for a 1-bedroom downtown is $2,000 plus utilities. Food and groceries for the average single adult is $400 a month, and that's on a very basic diet like bread, rice, and chicken. Now, a lot of people move downtown for the culture and nightlife, but that's gonna cost you. Dinner for 2 at a mid-range restaurant, for example, is gonna cost you about $80. Plus drinks and alcohol, you can expect to pay about $10 to $15 for a drink in the city. Transportation, that's a big one. If you are taking a TTC, which is our main public transit system, then your bus pass is going to cost you $160 a month. That all adds up, and here, that standard cost of living is not low. According to Numbeo.com, to get by in Toronto, you need at least $42,000 annually. The average salary in Toronto is $54,000, so that leaves you with just about $1,000 a month to pay for extra things like credit card bills, savings, or rainy day funds. Truly, the biggest setback and what's eating up most of people's budget are housing. Getting a place in Toronto, like I mentioned, is not cheap, and the reason why is because there's a huge disparity between supply and demand. There is a very limited pool of homes for sale, but a whole lot more people who want to buy a home, and so that's driving prices up to the point where homes are selling for tens, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars over asking. And so the government has now increased interest rates to try and bring the housing market back to equilibrium. But I honestly don't see that having drastic effects anytime soon, because changes like that take time to see lasting results. Now, you can move outside of the city where home prices will be more affordable. If you are considering that, then make sure to check out some of my Toronto suburb video tours, like this one, and this one. They highlight some of the most popular and best neighborhoods that people are moving to just outside the city of Toronto. But that does lead me to point number 3, which is that if you do move to the suburbs, then you're gonna need a car. And let me tell you guys, commuting in Toronto is not fun. This city has major highways, some with even up to 18 lanes, and there are even carpool lanes and toll roads and green lane options. But despite all this, Toronto still has the highest average traffic and commute times in the entire country. Car insurance rates are higher than elsewhere in the province. Parking can cost up to $25 a day, and so all in all, getting around either via your own personal vehicle or via public transit, that's going to suck up a lot of your time and money. But on the bright side, walking definitely is an option for a lot of Torontonians. In any given neighborhood you do move to, you'll likely find yourself close to plenty of amenities. But bear in mind that access to these amenities may not be so easy in the colder months, because let me tell you something else, Toronto winters get very, very cold. In January, for example, it's common to see lows of -10, -20 degrees. Throw in the wind chill and it'll feel like more like -30. Now, it doesn't get as cold as other parts of Canada like Montreal, Calgary, and further up north, but it does affect people's well-being. There's a lot less social activity that goes on in the winter months because nobody wants to go out. You've got to shovel your driveway just to get your car out, warm it up for 10 minutes, and then drive on icy roads. And so, although it doesn't happen to a lot of people, this does sadly result in, for some, seasonal affective disorder, where you legitimately get so sad about the weather that it affects your everyday life. And so people cure that by spending money to get away on vacation, or at least make themselves as comfortable as possible back home, say by ramping up the heat in their home, or buying good quality winter gear like downfall jackets and waterproof boots. But we are running into a central theme here so far, which is that you need money living in Toronto, and that means you need a job. But the next problem with that now is that it is a tough job market for newcomers. It is a tough job market for newcomers, and I did mention in this video about all the pros of living in Toronto that there are tons of job opportunities in Toronto, so definitely check it out too, by the way, if you haven't already. But there's still a high level of competition for these jobs. It does depend on the industry. If you are in the tech space, for example, software engineering or IT, then it might be easier for you to find work. But generally what I'm finding is that newcomers are at a disadvantage. Their resume, skill set, and qualifications from back home just don't match with what Toronto employers are looking for the exact same job. Now, that's just to say that immigrants should be fully aware of the requirements for their field of profession here in Toronto, and having a strong understanding of the work culture here is also beneficial to actually help you keep your job. The next reason why you may not want to move to Toronto is if you're looking for peace and quiet. You won't get any of that living downtown because construction is happening left and right, up and down all the time as more and more people live here and call Toronto home. We need to build more housing to actually help people find a home. And so when you look at the city's skyline, it's peppered with cranes. And walking along the street, there are pylons and drilling, closed roads, and all that noise. And so, although necessary to improve the city's infrastructure and to provide more housing, that comes at the cost of the sound of chainsaws as your everyday background music. And last but not least is what I like to call Instagram versus reality. The Canada you see on Instagram is not what you get in Toronto. And what I mean by that is that oftentimes when you're talking to people from abroad, they have this sense that Canada is this majestic, snow-capped, mountainous, open, fresh air type of country. And yes, while that's true for many parts of Canada, like Banff or Vancouver, it's actually quite the opposite in Toronto. There are no mountains, the land is pretty flat, vehicular traffic and large manufacturing companies here make for smoggy air, and it's a densely populated city with limited green space, far from being open and airy. And so at the end of the day, if you want to know what it's like living in Toronto, then it really all depends on your lifestyle and values. It's definitely not for everybody, but if you are looking for a hustling and bustling cosmopolitan city and set your expectations off right, then Toronto truly can be one of the best cities in the world for you. And so after outweighing the pros and the cons, you decide that you do want to move here after all, then give me a shout. I would love to help you out. I've been helping people all across Toronto and abroad for the last 7 years purchase and sell real estate here, and I would love to do the same for you. You can give me a shout right here. All of my contact is down below. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, or schedule a Zoom call with me, and I'd be happy to help you make that smooth move to Toronto. And if you don't know what areas to move to and you need help figuring out which neighborhoods are the best for you, then make sure to check out this video where I show you on Google Maps the most popular places in the city that people are moving to. You can see how close they are to the most popular attractions like the CN Tower or the financial district. If you plan on working here, it breaks down what areas are known for, the type of people that live here, also that you get a better idea of what it's actually like to live in Toronto. Also, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so that you get all the latest news about living in Toronto I drop a new video every week, but until then, thanks guys for watching everybody, and I hope you stay safe. Much love to our Ukrainian friends all over the world. I'll see you guys around town.